Today we're going to talk about jobs you've never heard of, but maybe you should have. And the reason why is I was scrolling TikTok the other day, and a girl was on there, and she was saying that she had just gotten out of the military after 10 years, and she was looking for a job that would be something that she could do that would be good for women, and that would make a lot of money and be a great job. And so I'm just, curious. I'm scrolling through the answers, and this job kept coming up, and I'm like, surely this means something else. Like this is a code, and it was Scrum, SCRUM, Scrum Master.
I feel the need for you to spell that because when you first told me, I thought you said Scrub Master, and I thought you were talking about a tool that you found on TikTok to clean your bathroom with. So
she could be a cleaner.
No,
and
it's not that.
It's not that, and it's not Scum Master. It's Scrum Master. And I thought, this makes no sense. So of course, you have to go to Google. You Google it, and I'm like, it is in one of the most in-demand jobs. It's not just for women or men. It's one of the most in-demand jobs right now, one of the best-paying jobs, and it's basically like a team leader, like a coach. And so the definition, I'll read it. A Scrum Master guides a team through a project using agile project management techniques. They facilitate communication and collaboration between the team and leadership to ensure the project's success.
Okay.
And honestly, to me, it's like basically you're trying to set up the team to do everything without being micromanaged, that they can do it on their own, and they set their own goals and guidelines, and then they share in the success. It's a cool sounding job. I don't really understand how it works. Maybe it's because I'm used to the old style of management because I'm old. But if you're looking for a job, I sent it to my best friend whose daughter is 27 or 28. I can't remember. But anyway, I sent it to her. I'm like, maybe she should look into this.
Yeah.
Looks like a very good job.
You never know.
So,
the next one on our list is my favorite. When you told me, I'm like, this sounds very interesting. A certified ethical hacker. So
which
basically,
sounds amazing.
It does. Like hacker sounds cool, right? But it's people who hack for good, essentially. And there's like an actual certification that you can get.
They need bumper stickers. Hacking for good.
Yeah, there you go. Sounds different.
Yeah.
But you can get a CEH credential, the Certified Ethical Hacker credential, and it proves that you have the skills to help the organization take preemptive measures against malicious attacks you're going to attack the system itself,
and
like on purpose.
Yeah.
Yes, but you're going to stay within legal limits to do so. So you're intentionally trying to hack your organization or your company's system so that you can see, I guess, where like the failing points are.
Yeah.
So that they can make it stronger against
I feel like that
the bad
would be
hackers.
like a super fun job.
It'd be interesting. I just feel like there's so many different aspects of cybersecurity.
Yeah.
So this would be one aspect of it. My daughter's boyfriend, he does some cybersecurity stuff too.
Oh, he does.
So I think it's so interesting. Like, I don't understand any of it. I don't know what you have to know to do it, but this is a certification. So it's not like a full degree in that field. It's just one more certification. Which I feel like a lot of IT is just a lot of different certifications that you can get.
And you probably can, like, if you were really good at hacking and stuff, you probably could get into this without having a specialized degree, but maybe get this certification.
Yeah, get the certification.
And there's probably a lot of applications for like government work or government companies that do government contracts and
like
stuff
contracting.
Like that.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. Maybe I should get a side gig. Go do this. The next one is Actuary, and I actually have heard of this because if you have a degree in finance, which I do, this is a career path where you're sort of, so let me read the definition. A professional with advanced mathematical skills who deals with the measurement and management of risk and uncertainty. These risks can affect both sides of the balance sheet and require asset management, liability management, and valuation skills. And
what does that actually mean, though?
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like a lot of people who are an actuary, it's a good job to work like in insurance, and you determine what is the risk that the company takes by insuring this certain group of people, like young females or young males, what would be their risk of getting in a car accident? And then with this kind of car, what would be the risk so that they can set their rates?
Are they the same people that would do the risk on like insuring homes, potentially?
Probably, yes. Homes, life insurance.
Okay.
So any of the insurance type things, that's a really good job for an actuary. I heard about it in college when they were going over like the career paths for finance. I was like, yeah, not for me. I don't want to sit in a room with a bunch of numbers, like running simulations of like, it's an analytical job.
Right.
But if you like kind of working in a room, but I always thought of like a person in a closed room by themselves, no windows. It's like a windowless cell. And I'm sorry if you are an actuary, I apologize, but it just sounds like kind of that kind of job. But it is, they do pay really, really well, and it is a necessary evil.
Interesting.
You know, you're setting rates for people.
Yeah.
So,
somebody has to do that, right?
Yeah, somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The next job is one that's rare that you've probably never heard of. And only 330 people were employed in a role like this as of May of 2022. So the data's a little bit old.
Yeah.
But not that old. It's a wood pattern maker. So they create wooden molds for metal workers to use in casting molten metal. There's not very much competition for the job. So they say the good part about this job is that you're unlikely to be laid off. So that's always good if you're looking for job stability.
Do you have to be an artist? Do you have to be like
I
an
don't
artist?
think so. I don't know what the qualifications are. Again, 330 people. I don't think that there's like a degree or a path for this. As it would be in very low demand.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what do these people make? So it's not good. I don't know that it's a living wage. 35,000, I think, is around the starting base. And I read that the median's around 45,000 a year, but you can earn as much as 83, which still is, in today's market and times.
Depends where you live.
Depends on where you live, for sure. Yeah. So those are some interesting job titles that we found.
Yeah, we would love to. We were fascinated by it. So, like, if you have an interesting job, like, please share.
Yeah.
Please share.
Something that you think that the majority of people don't know what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, please share, because I think it's fascinating. Yeah.
Right.
And we started talking about jobs and thinking about jobs. And then right around this time, which this is going to come, like, we're recording now, so this is happening right now.
Right.
With the federal workers being told, like,
you got to come back.
You got to come back. Mm-hmm. And also being told, or you can, like, up to 10%, I think, of the federal workforce
was a lot of people
was offered to take like a 8-month severance or something
until September. It's currently January, the end of January, so this would go until September, allegedly, of 2025, and voluntarily resign for the severance.
Yes.
They've been told, from what we've been hearing, to do not contact HR. It's all coming from OPM, allegedly.
And what is OPM?
The Office of Personnel Management.
Okay, yeah.
So it's all coming from that. And I think it's interesting because people on the internet.
Yes.
So can you believe what you read? I don't know, right? But people on the internet are saying that's a bad idea because when Elon took over Twitter, a very similar offer was made, and he actually only gave these people 1 month of severance.
Yes, he told them 6 months. They only got 1 month at most. Like, some people didn't even get the 1 month.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think, there's been a correlation, obviously, between Elon and the current administration, obviously for obvious reasons.
Yes.
And so it's interesting. And people are talking on their TikTok accounts, because that's all I watch. I don't look at the other sites or whatever.
That's our news.
That's my news.
If TikTok goes away, we're in big trouble. We won't have any news.
And by the time you see this, it might be gone. We don't know yet still.
They said Microsoft. Did you see that?
I know, but I just don't know if that's real.
They said Microsoft is, well, I think Trump said it, right? That Microsoft
Trump says a lot. He says a lot of things that... Is it real or not? We don't know.
Is it real or not? We don't know. But we're hopeful.
I wonder if anybody will actually take this offer to resign.
Well, here's the thing I think is that what they're saying is, and what I thought immediately was, I used to work for Florida Power and Light way back, my first job out of college, really. And they would offer these early retirement packages.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Early retirement. And you could take the early retirement, and it gave you things like that, like a severance and things like that. But if you didn't take it, you were at risk, which is what they're saying about these people. Yes. You were at risk of still being fired, furloughed, laid off, whatever.
Right.
So you're still going to be out of a job, but you don't have the severance that goes with it.
I feel like they're encouraging these people because they're trying to downsize how many personnel work for the government, civilian personnel. People that aren't affected by this are like the military. They're not affected by this. They're not offered this. There might be some that are willing to take that.
Right.
But they're not offered this. There's some other departments, I believe, that are not subject to this. But, for people that are having to return to work, maybe, they like the ability to telework. And there's certainly plenty of companies that are outside of the government that have options for remote working or a flexible schedule where you're hybrid, you're part-time in office, and there's other jobs that are fully remote. So, people who've gotten used to it. And honestly, in the DC area, if you work for the federal government, the traffic alone would be like, sign me up for that because I don't want to deal with it.
Because it takes you an hour and a half, 2 hours to drive.
To get to work,
And it's not that far, mileage-wise.
It's the traffic.
Yeah, what do they call it? The Beltway?
The Beltway. Yeah, terrifying, by the way.
Yeah. I drove with my dad on the Beltway once because he wasn't from there, but he went to college there and stuff, and he was like a lunatic. He got on that road. I was like, I'm never going on that. I was
just telling Jen, because, she used to live in the D.C. area too, the greater D.C. area in Virginia, and I told her the other day, we were talking about how kids down here, it's crazy that they've never driven on 95, and they're like 17 years old, and I was like, well, honestly, I never drove on the Beltway when I grew up. Until I was 22 years old. Yeah. And it was out of necessity because I didn't have a need to go to those places. Right. Everything was more local for us, but it was nearby. And the first time I had to get on that Beltway, I was terrified.
Yes.
Because I didn't know, I don't know where I'm going. And this is before GPS. All we had was MapQuest, printed directions.
Are you kidding? Yeah.
Girl, I got lost in Anacostia Park one time and a police officer had to help me on my way out. It was scary. But yeah, so I don't want to commute in that. Every time I fly home and have to drive back to my dad's house, it sucks. Yeah. Because
I drove on it last time we were there. I drove on that, and it was, I want to say it was off hours or something. And I'm like, the worst I've ever driven in was LA traffic.
Yeah.
Hello?
I've never driven in that. I've only ridden as a passenger in that, and I don't ever want to drive in that either. Atlanta's no fun either.
Yes. Yeah. Atlanta's no fun. Yeah. What? I don't know. Keep me in my little town.
Yes.
And if we don't have to drive on 95, honestly, I avoid it.
Same.
I do. Yeah. I avoid it. I don't want to drive on 95.
No, there's too many accidents. You just don't know. Like, am I going to be stuck on this road for hours now?
Yeah, trapped on the road. Anyway, we got off topic. Yes. Imagine that.
It's the commuting aspect of the working,
It's the commuting aspect. But we do think, and on the subject of jobs, I am a firm believer that in today's society, you have to have a backup plan.
Yes, always.
It doesn't matter what your job is. You have to have a backup plan, and you also are not dumb if you have a second stream of income.
Right. And my husband always says, the best time to look for a job is when you already have a job.
Yes.
So when you are employed by somebody else, it's always a good idea to just be floating your resume around and talking to recruiters. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
And I feel like today's people are a lot less loyal to their employers because they know that they're just a number. You're so easy to be replaced. My parents worked for the federal government until they retired. Everybody just kept the same job.
Yeah.
Maybe you got promoted, within your department or something like that, but literally the same job until they retired. And people now, you got to follow the dollars. You do. You just have to do what you have to do.
And they will lay you off. They will let you go. You could be an amazing employee and they just disband your department.
Yeah, can you imagine? Yeah.
And so you don't want to be stuck. I feel like always be looking at your options, always know what your plan B is, and look for that second stream of income that can bring in some extra dollars.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So, okay.
I think that's it for today.
That is it for today. We'll see you guys next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.